The Road to Osaka series is powered by Mizuno. Hear from Reece Edwards, Rachel McGuinness and Julian Spence, and other top Australian marathoners in their push to the Osaka Marathon on February 25. Now, that's 6 days away. So we are in race week. We're previewing a race and we're reviewing a race. Interesting week. Don't think that's ever happened on the podcast before from the same person. We'll chat about that. Welcome to Rachel.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Reece, how are you?
Yeah, good, mate. It's good to be back.
Yep. I did see you yesterday, actually.
I saw you too selling lots of merch and sunglasses and shoes and hats, and you didn't have much stock left on that table at the end of the day.
No, it was a good weekend down Port Fairy. It is a brilliant spot. You said that it is your favourite town on the Great Ocean Road. I didn't know if you were trying to stir me up about Anglesey or at the time, but it is a brilliant little town.
Yeah, I was 50-50 on it. It's a beautiful town, but I was partly stirring you as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's not quite Anglesey, but it's probably the second best town.
What's the size difference between them? Do you know?
Well, they're about the same population, I think. And they're the same swell in summer to massive amounts. There's probably a little bit more going on in Port Fairy in terms of folk festivals, but we're a bit closer to Melbourne, so we probably get more weekender traffic, I'm going to say. I was speaking to the coffee guy. He reckons they're busy every single day down there.
Really? Even midweek?
Midweek through winter, they're busy all the time. So it's a popular place. Yeah, popular.
I have one issue with Port Fairy. Did you taste their water?
Oh, fucking hell.
Oh, it's terrible.
What is wrong? So that was foul. There's something in their pipes or what?
It's apparently because it's bored from the earth. So it's like the taste of, I guess, like the rocks and stuff that it comes through. Instead of
is that town water bore water?
Yeah, that's what someone told me, because we were there a couple of weeks ago for a wedding, and that's what someone said.
It was so bad. I could barely even with electrolyte tablets, you could taste it would come through the taste.
Even your cup of tea at night, you could taste it in your tea.
Yeah, Jimmy was staying with us. He went and bought massive bottles of water for the house, and it was a great idea. Yeah,
I left some in my Yeti just to sip on it today, just to reminisce.
Oh, that would have been a nasty shock. I don't know if you noticed, but there was a representative from the, I don't know whether Moyne Water, whatever the water supplier is, and they had that water trailer with the bubblers and the taps and everything.
Yeah, and I didn't try that.
Nah, well, you wouldn't. I went up. I had a chat with her at the end. I couldn't bring myself to ask why the water was so bad, because it was her baby.
True.
Anyway, we'll get into you and your glory later. But Rach, any glory for you this week?
Quite the opposite. Well, small glory in that I was able to move into a cam boot instead of crutches, so that's a small win. Not quite as good as when but hey ho.
How long are you in a cam boot for?
Well, my sports doctor said he originally said 2 to 3 weeks of crutches in cam boot, but I worked at a soccer game with him last week, and he was like, "No, I said 4," and I was like, "No, you definitely said 2 to 3." So I don't know. I'm just gonna see. I'll probably just keep it on at least until we leave, which is Wednesday. And just
you're taking it to Japan with you?
Well, I don't really fancy bringing it with me, because Wednesday's a write-off for walking anyway. So I kind of consider that another day of non-weight bearing, because we're just on the flight all day. So I'm like, could I just push out to then, and then maybe just go back to walking, weight bearing on Thursday?
Yeah, that would be pretty painful, especially because it's pissing rain. It's probably going to be a bit wet. You're going to have wet roads and stuff. Surely it's not good on that.
Yeah, and just because I know I'd be getting rid of it in at least 5 or 6 days, and then it just takes up so much room in your suitcase. I just don't want to be carrying it around everywhere, because we're traveling for a little bit after.
Yeah, that'd be painful. Yeah. Cross training this week?
Yeah, just doing swimming and stationary bike. And And then I guess when I get back to like walking on it, I'll probably consider adding an elliptical again. But because we're traveling, I'm just going to, like, if we stay in a hotel that has a gym, I'll maybe use it, but I'm not going to like worry about trying to continually cross them.
Yeah, that could get hard actually. Japan, don't reckon there's a lot of like 24-hour gyms there. I could be wrong. Maybe there is. Maybe there isn't.
What do your swim sessions look like, Rachel? Are you doing sessions in the water?
I could. I mean, I could, but like I'd struggle to do that on my own. So I just go and swim like a couple of K. Essentially.
So you're just swimming like straight, or you just have a rest whenever?
Yeah, I usually rest every 400 or 500 meters. So yeah, just do take a quick rest.
Swimming has to be like the most boring sport in the entire world.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I swear to God, the only way to make it interesting is to somehow do like some sort of session in the water. You have to break it up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Do you want my favorite?
Yeah, go on. Share your tips.
My favorite swim session depends on what times you're coming in, but say you do 4 by 50 meters.
Yep.
2 by 100, 200, 2 by 100, 4 by 50, and you have it so like, say if I did it, I'd do it on back in the day. It might be like a minute 30 is what you'd leave on the say 100, 60, 50. Anyway, you come in so you have about 15 seconds rest, and you get 1K over and done with like that.
That's a very small session though.
Oh, then you do it twice.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It's actually really hard when you're doing intensity in the pool because it's like you're missing oxygen and your head's underwater. And so you're like gasping for air and you feel like if you take the wrong breath, you're going to drown.
Yeah. I'm just really limited by I fatigue a lot quicker swimming than I do running. So like both like in terms of boredom and like my form, I think fatigue's a bit just because I haven't done it properly for years. So yeah, it's not that exciting.
Yeah.
How far can you go underwater?
Like how far can I swim?
I'm hearing a challenge coming up. I like this.
You failed the chin up challenge, so
I swim a couple of K. Like I could probably swim a few K without stopping if I like really wanted to. I stop usually for like 15-20 seconds every 500 meters just to have some water, but like I could probably easily swim for an hour continuously, but I'm not super quick anymore.
Oh, I think he said underwater.
Yeah.
Sorry. I could probably, I reckon I could maybe, as in just doing a start, so just where you push off and do like butterfly kick.
Yeah. We can do any kick when you're underwater.
Maybe 30 meters. I don't know.
30 meters. That's good.
Yeah.
That is.
I could definitely do a whole 25-meter pool because most of the ones in the UK are 25 meters, and I used to be able to pretty much get to the end just off a start on that. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Well, I'll do it. Maybe. I probably don't have time actually. Maybe.
Do you swim in a 50 or a 25?
Yeah, 50 here. Yeah.
50. Okay. So you'll see the lines on the bottom, so you'll get an idea where you start from.
Yeah.
And then
can I dive? Am I allowed to dive?
Nah, no diving.
No diving. No.
But you can.
Maybe not then, because I'm basing that off of diving.
Just don't have a shallow water blackout on us.
If I could just black out for like the next 4 weeks until this repeat scan, and then
that'd be nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we might as well talk about Reece's win yesterday because I saw it in person. As like you see my name there, greatness. I reckon I was watching.
Witness greatness.
You should see him in this town. He
get out.
No, the cameras were there. He had the news crew. He had half of Port Fairy like doting on him. It was really like, it was a spectacle. It was seeing a celebrity in his own environment, almost like influencer-like down there. And that was even before he ran. So you should imagine. It's a very
influential thing to do, to run like 2 marathons in 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, big time.
Like screams influencer.
It screams attention seeking.
You two have had this lined up, haven't you, before this?
Well, you haven't, but I like it. He even, I don't know if you noticed, but he started posting on Instagram and he puts in his training weeks now.
Oh, get it.
He's done He's done like a little. Must be like an online course for influencers.
Oh yeah.
So a little bit more attention. Have a look at me time, and that's good for brands when the attention's on him, because he's dealing. I think I heard that he's talking to a few big companies actually. Mizuno, like, are they gonna? Is he the new Morgan Mitchell now?
Oh yeah, could be.
Do you think he's got the? Do you think he's got the firepower as same as Morgan?
No, you were full of it.
It was all right, Reece. You take it away because you're down here. No, let's do your week. Let's do your week first. I want to know what a bloke like you does in race week of the week before a race, and then another race.
The week before. Okay, so pretty similar to the weeks before. So Monday I did 17 kilometers, easy. Tuesday, I did a session, so I did 8 by 1K with 60 seconds rest on Tuesday. I just run to there for my warm-up. Alan wanted it, who's on the bike, Al, he wanted it composed and controlled this week, so he kind of didn't want me to go much below 3, so we just pretty much ran them all about 3-minute K pace.
So he is coaching you then. That's coaching instructions, right there.
Yeah, he's probably not very impressed with what happened at Port Fairy, but beyond that, I'd say he probably has been coaching me and been very proud of how I've been going, and he's got me to where without a doubt, this is the fittest I've ever probably been in my entire life, and it is, thanks to him and the other boys.
Did he voice his disapproval of?
Yeah, I was going to ask what you say.
So before the weekend, he was never keen on it, and then before it, he's just he never gave a number, but just as easy as possible, Reece. If you can get it done in whatever it is, just as slow as you can get it done in. It's kind of him insinuating.
You definitely didn't do that.
Yeah, didn't you beat the next person by 6 minutes?
We'll get there.
Yeah, I got a few questions on that too, Rachel. I got a few questions on that.
So Tuesday session 8 by 1K. I think we started at 3s. The last couple might have been 2:57, but just felt really controlled and really good. Wednesday did 19K easy jog. Thursday I did a 25-minute tempo. That was just by myself. Didn't have a bike or anything like that, and I ran that at 3:11 pace for 25 minutes, and I was really happy with that. I think before Melbourne, if I did that sort of session, I was probably, for that sort of effort, I was probably looking at 3:15s average. So after a whole day of work, and I was really happy to run 3:11s there. It didn't feel that taxing, so I was really, really encouraged by a Thursday session.
Do you finish that just feeling super easy?
Yeah, it just doesn't, I just literally jog home. I don't stop or anything like that. I jog down there. I don't do strides. I don't do drills. I don't do anything. I just get straight into do a little jog straight into the tempo and then just jog straight home. It doesn't feel taxing at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then Friday was the day we were traveling down to Port Fairy, so I could only sneak in a 8K run home. I had to kind of come home directly because we didn't want to get down there too late. So Friday was 8K easy jog, and then Saturday I did 11.6K in the morning, and the 8K jog in the afternoon. So then that leads us to Sunday. So I've already done about 100Ks or 101Ks or something leading into Sunday, and then that's when I've done Port Fairy Marathon. Can I give a little bit of background story of how this all came about before I absolutely get burnt to shreds? So, firstly, I know that the audience, the people listening, there's a clear divide now that has been formed, and you've got half of the audience are kind of saying this guy is an absolute moron and they'd love to see me fail in Osaka, to be like, yeah, we knew it's not possible. And then you've got the other side of the audience listening going, this guy's a complete and utter mad dog. I hope he just goes there and blitzes Osaka. So I understand there's that complete divide. So the reason for Port Fairy and how this all came about is back maybe in September. So in September long weekend last year, my wife and I, we travelled down to Port Fairy and did the park run. And then after I've won Melbourne Marathon, they've contacted me, a few of the guys I've met down there. And they said, would you be interested in coming to Port Fairy, helping us being a bit of an ambassador? It's a small town. They run the event to try and make money for their primary school. I was brought up in small towns in northern New South Wales, so it's something that is actually quite close to me. So I agreed to doing this. And then it was probably a few weeks later, a month later, Mizuno, I had this opportunity come up with Mizuno. And, you know, it was a phenomenal opportunity with Mizuno, and I couldn't really say no to not take up that opportunity. But being the sort of person I am, I can't turn my back on like a small community, and I'm a man of my word. So I've agreed to do the Mizuno thing, but at the same time thought, you know, I can't turn my back on Port Fairy. And I'm happy I haven't turned my back on Port Fairy because it's all going to be okay.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, you say that at the finish line next week.
It is all going to be okay. So that's how this all came about. It wasn't like I don't want to come across like I'm some arrogant dick that's been like, yeah, I can run a marathon the week before. And then this is how it's all come about. And
all right,
without a doubt, it's going to, yeah.
Let me jump in for a second. Firstly, there is definitely some of us out there who think that you're a total moron who also want to see you run well in Osaka. There is a middle ground here. Like it's not a total polar divide. I know there's some in either camp for sure, but there's a middle ground too. Secondly, the sob story ain't working about the small town and I'm from the south. Like you could have gone down and had a lovely weekend and been a great ambassador. But so continue on.
Okay, yeah. So so I've come down to Port Fairy on the Sunday, and being the sort of person I am, I feel like, you know, I have to run reasonable anyway. So there's a local down there. He was quite keen. Jason Day was quite keen to kind of potentially push the sub 220 barrier. So we swapped turns for the first 18 kilometers, just 1K each. And then at the 18-kilometer marker, it's just a little bit of a tougher part of the course, a little bit up and down, a little bit windy. And he slipped off the back of me there. But I was still just running the pace that he wanted. So I kind of just like, I'll just keep this going. So, yeah, we went through halfway in a tick over 70 minutes. Is that right, Miss?
70:08 I saw. And I reckon you got probably 25 seconds on him by then.
Yeah, so 70 minutes.
Were there words exchanged when he dropped back?
No, there was no words exchanged. It was kind of like, because I felt like I was still just running the same pace, and I don't think he wanted to slow me down. And then if I dropped back to him and we weren't running kind of his goal pace anyway, I didn't know if that defeated the purpose. So there was no words exchanged.
I reckon that's the point right there. That's the point in time where your run becomes stupider.
Yeah,
you didn't have to do
that. Back and,
you could have run with the man. Like the whole purpose of running that fast was to help him, and then you're not helping him at all by like totally burying him.
Well, I didn't totally bury him. I was.
Well, you did. You beat him by 6 minutes.
Running the targeted pace.
Well, but you were there to help him.
If you're the sole pacer and you're running that pace for this one person and they drop off, like if there was a pacer in like an elite marathon and they were told you've got this job to pace this one person, like if Jules was pacing Ellie or something for a marathon and Ellie gets to like 30K and says, oh, I'm actually struggling, Jules isn't going to say, oh, well, this is the target pace, just carry on with me. Like,
what about 8K? You reckon dump it at 8K?
Get out of town. It's not like we're trying to get into the Olympics here. It's a Port Fairy marathon.
All right, continue. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
Okay, and
brilliant.
Yeah, brilliant recap. Yeah. So then, I'm feeling quite good at this point.
You look good too. You look good.
So then I've run to 30Ks, and I've thought to myself at 30Ks, do I troll everyone and run 2:19 right now? Could this be the ultimate alpha move if I just keep running like I am right now and go and run 2:19? How many people will that annoy? And then I ran past my wife. And she said, "You are an imbecile. What are you doing? Slow down, switch off. This is ridiculous." And I
That's
listened to
smart.
her, and so then I just took all the intensity out of it. But then I was still running like quite well. I think I was still running like 3:30s, maybe just under 3:30s. But I kind of took any form of intensity out of it, and I think at that point, if I ran 3:30 or 3:45 or 3:50, it all would have felt pretty similar. But there was no, so I don't want to. There was no point in that race where I felt like I was really like suffering, or I didn't take anything emotionally. Like all I've done throughout this entire marathon is build a really healthy and positive relationship with the marathon, with the marathon distance. So I feel like I'm stronger for it.
What about the undeniable damage that you do to your cellular structures doing that 1 week before the race?
So, like the inflammatory cycle is up to 6 days long, and it was 7 days out. So I'm sweet.
So you'll be fully recovered after 6 days after a marathon.
Let me fully recover. So, but okay, I've run a marathon distance, but I haven't run like high intensity over that distance. So I've been doing some sessions that could be 25 kilometers of volume at 3:08 pace, 3:07 pace. So
yeah, you've run it at probably 95% of pace. Is that what that is? Let me
the first 32 Ks is at like 3:18, 3:19 pace. But then that last 10 Ks is at 3:30 pace. I've been running every single one of my long runs this entire block or for the last 2 years at like 3:30 pace.
Yeah.
And I recover fine within a week of that every single time.
All right. Well,
I'm not saying it's ideal, but I'm telling everyone right now, it'll have zero impact on Osaka.
Zero impact.
Zero impact. 0% chance. If I have a bad run at Osaka, like it's because of my pacing strategy. It's got nothing to do with Port Fairy.
So, Reece, okay, if this has zero impact on Osaka, why don't you do it every marathon that you train for?
Well, if I go and run a PB, I will.
Okay, that's fair. But Rachel, come in here.
Would you recommend it to others? Like let's say this plays out for you. Would you say to like your friends or like your training group, oh look, your next marathon, you should do a 95% tempo, 42K a week before?
If they think it would be positive for their race, well, I'm not a coach, but if they think it would be positive for their experience and it's something that they were interested in doing, they wanted to take the risk, then why not?
There is this like spectrum of reward and risk, and you're playing way down one end of it.
So the thing that's the most frustrating about this situation, right, is if I run 2:12, everyone's going to be like, "Oh, you could have run 2:11 or 2:10 high."
I'm going to say that.
Yeah. So the only way to prove all of you wrong, if I go and run 2:10, you cannot say I'll run 2:09 because 2:10 is out of my skin. So if I go and run 2:10, if I run 2:10 at Osaka, you can legit be like Port Fairy. That's like he did it.
There is no possible circumstance arise next weekend that convinces me that was a good idea. Not a single possible one.
Not a single possible one, really.
Do you think it's in any way like has any benefit apart from like the philanthropic stuff? Like, is there any part of it that you think is going to benefit you for next week?
I think, like, from a physical point of view, no, like, there's no benefit there. I think actually, like, the emotional side of it, like, I just ran a marathon on the weekend and, like, it was like I had a great experience. There wasn't any suffering involved. Like, I'm going into this next marathon being like, marathons, like I can run a 2:22 and not even suffer. So if I was to go out at 65, worst case scenario, if I can run that to 20, 25 kilometers, I've got 15K of suffering. Like I know I can finish a marathon. So I think I've just built like a really healthy relationship around the marathon where I can just go out aggressively. I know you have good marathons, bad marathons. Like I'm just willing to risk it more now because there's always another marathon.
What point in the race did you see your wife? What
It must
kilometer
be
mark?
30, maybe 32, 33K or something like that.
Okay, yeah. Because I'm like, this actually presents to me like you've blown up.
And that's the
Looking
sort
at
of,
your
yeah,
splits.
of course, yeah. I thought you'd have a go at me, but like a typical regressive run.
Yeah.
And so at 30 Ks, I'm like, do I troll him and go 219 just so he can't say, oh yeah, typical regressive run, he's blown up? But I've like put my ego aside and thought, no, like just tap it in, and the big ones next week, you'll prove them all wrong.
When I blow up at 35 next week, I'll say, oh, is this the point where I troll Reece and run 210? Nah, I won't do that to him. I'll just cruise home.
Yeah, like and so that's the thing. I could look like an absolute fool next week, and everyone will blame it on Port Fairy. But if I have a bad run in Osaka, I am not blaming Port Fairy. It's not Port Fairy to be blamed because I'm turning up. My body is fine. Like I've just done 14.5 Ks at 4:28. It's like I feel perfectly fine. I sent a video to Moose of me running downstairs. Like I feel perfectly fine. Like the only way Osaka goes bad is if I just have a bad pacing strategy. Something happens and I get sick beforehand. But like Port Fairy will not be the reason why if I have a bad race.
Your immunity does go down after a marathon, though. So
there you go.
Yeah, but it's not. But it's not a full pelt marathon.
All right, let's move on.
Yeah,
you run 143 Ks.
Yeah,
that's a down week. At least that side of it's tapering.
Yeah, I'm ready now. The taper begins now. I'm chilled.
You'd go back up again this week, wouldn't you? I will talk about the taper. I will talk about your strategies and we'll discuss that. It's a good listener question come through. You mentioned getting sick. I got sick last week, so my training wasn't very good this week. I had a cold develop. I'm going to say it was on Tuesday. So I felt really good Monday. This was actually kind of disappointing to me because on Monday I woke up and ran twice. I felt like really quite good. Body was good. I don't know. I just felt like I was there. I felt like I'd made it to the taper and everything was going real well. So yeah, I ran with Ali in the morning, 8K. And then I ran in the Arvo 8K. And then that next morning, I woke up and I had to go to Melbourne. And I'd noticed Pia's been having this like snotty nose. And that's never good. And it's like real runny. Like you're non-stop runny, like always having to use a tissue. I thought there's a fairly high chance I'm going to get this. And Tuesday, got up, went for a jog, felt okay, drove to Melbourne. And then on the way in, nose starts running. And then through the meetings that I was having was like just holding a tissue to it. My throat got sore. I was like, fuck, this is it. So I luckily I'd noticed that she'd come good like 24 hours later, her nose stopped running. And so I thought, beauty, it's a short-term thing. And it has been a short-term thing, but it still knocked my session. So I didn't do the session on Wednesday. That Tuesday, Arvo, I didn't double. On Wednesday, I was supposed to do a workout. I didn't do one. I had the day off work. I jogged that afternoon. Legs felt great, but body no good. Then the next morning, I decided to get out and I would do a shortened, like a smaller workout, just to I was real antsy about how the flu, like how it was affecting me for training. Sometimes I get sick and I can train fine. I can run through without a problem. So I went out and did an adjusted session of what I had planned for the Wednesday. So I did this around home as well, which is a lot slower course to run on. I went 2.5K at marathonish pace. So it was like, I don't know, 3:18s, 3:17s, and then 90-second jog. Then I did 5 by minute hard, minute jog. So that was about 3-minute K pace. And then I did 1.5 K at marathon pace. And that was around about 3:15s. And it felt okay while I was running, but I was sweating a lot. Rachel, good question for you. Is there a reason I would be sweating more when I was sick?
Only if you had illness that caused like a fever. That's something that.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't be well enough, really. Also, just your body's working harder because it's having to fight off an infection and exercise at the same time. So.
Would it be like? Could it be from having like a higher core temperature or something from being ill? I don't know. I was trying to work it out.
If you had like a fever, I guess you could be running a low grade fever that's not sick enough to like stop you from exercising.
Yeah, well, maybe I shouldn't have been exercising too.
Yeah, maybe.
But I was just like pouring sweat, and it was a really like it was 11 degrees, and I was pouring sweat, and I thought this probably ain't good. But I felt fine, like I wasn't tired. So I don't know. I had the Arvo off as well. Like I went to work and stuff, but I had the Arvo off.
But you don't read into them. You don't read into the paces of these sort of sessions this close to the marathon, do you?
What do you mean read into it? Like find
like you're not gonna. Yeah, that's what, like it doesn't like say that 2.5 K at marathon pace. You're not really worried how that.
Not when I'm sick, and not when I'm running around my house here.
Yeah,
like it's not a. Yeah, I don't hit workouts around here to the pace of like what I normally do.
Yeah,
and I was kind of ill, so I knew what was going on. I did jog the next day, so that was Friday. Had a run, went to work, knocked off early, picked up Pia from daycare early, and got in the car and drove down to Port Fairy, which lovely place. 2.5 hours. She was a dream in the car. It was actually quite enjoyable. Got to listen to my music the whole way, which
no wiggles.
A real treat. Yeah, somehow I've got through that. She had about 15 dolls lined up in the back. Turns out that I've got a doll daughter, which isn't as bad as it sounds. It means that she could occupy herself pretty well. Jogged around town, absolutely fucking on one, like felt amazing. Just checking out the bit of the course, checking out some surf. It's a really epic place, Port Fairy. Like that exposed coastline along the Ocean Drive, I think it's called. That I loved it down there. Reminded me kind of like of some down south type area. Well, it is down south, but
like Tassie.
Yeah, Tassie, and even like the Great Ocean Road coast a bit further back, like the bits between Apollo Bay and Lorne, like some not the township area, but the actual coast, like the reefs and stuff. I did a session the next morning. So before we went to work down at the expo, I jogged 4K, and then I did this little session, 3x3K with a 2-minute jog. So on paper, I had 4x3K, but this is going to seem ridiculous, but I thought that's probably too much a week out. And I dropped it back to 3x3K. So I was pretty happy with that decision. Maybe I'm soft. I don't know. We'll have to get like an opinion from the crowd on that one. I went out too hard, so I ran a bit too quick on these, but they're only 3K. I found really found the difference between 3:14 and 3:17, and noticed the change in my effort. So I'm going to sort of take note of that when I get to Osaka, the first sort of 20K at least. I'm going to make sure that I'm not stupid about that. The laps, I think it was about I'm going to say like 3:14 and then 3:15. And then at the end, it was a bit too quick, maybe 3:12.
And so you started out at 3:06 in that last one.
Yeah, you know what? Check out the map. Straight past Parkrun. I went past the park. And if you look at the time, The time, like literally, it was probably 7:55 when I did that rep. I was. It was insane.
Because that's up and down. That's a little bit up and down through there as well.
I know. I've gone too hard. But, gee, there was a lot of people around and I would have looked good rolling through there. So that was the run, and it wasn't like that was my Saturday morning. And then we were so busy. Like it's busy, those expos. It's not a real expo or anything, but we have a table set up. 2,000 people do this event nearly. I think they had nearly 2,000 anyway. So it's actually a massive event in a smaller town, which is a really cool thing. And a lot of former customers, current customers, and hopefully future customers like come up and we chat. We talk through like the Morton gels that we had there, the On shoes, and everything else. So you kind of in a store, you might serve 10 people a day, maybe each. You get to sit down with them. The conversations are a lot more relaxed and slower. Whereas at these events, you have like probably 200 micro interactions and you are fried from that. I'm not a super social type person that can handle that. So for me, at the end of the day, I am zapped. I got to sit down, like I'm cooked, and do that 2 days in a row of that, like drains me. So I've been fucked today on this Monday. I probably wouldn't do it again. It's cool to watch the race though. Like we had a tent set up on the Sunday where we got down and saw everyone come through halfway point. Seeing a lot of people go out too hard and noticing that it's good for next week to see what happened. Like you and Jason. And whatnot.
This is why I should have negative slip.
Yeah. You should have trolled me. You should have trolled me because all I'm seeing is a bloke who went out too hard, 30K, blew up. And no, it was fun. We packed up, we got home late Sunday arvo. I didn't run that much, but I got through this sickness all right. So I'm still a little bit. I'm actually really interested in some of Rachel's thoughts on this. So I don't have a runny nose, but I still feel a bit congested and a bit like sinusy. And when I'm run, I get a bit in the chest. How do I get rid of this?
Are you bringing anything up? Coughing anything
Just
up?
like a little bit of green stuff.
Oh, no, you're not, are you?
If you think it's sinus infection, you can get antibiotics for it, but it's probably it's far more likely to be viral than bacterial anyway. So I just leave it. It'll probably settle. Best thing you do is just sleep, eat, drink.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What about those cold flu tablets?
Yeah, you can take them. I mean, they just contain a decongestant and paracetamol. So,
is that decongestant? I was thinking that could have been causing me to sweat more for some reason. Could that have that effect?
Not sure. I'd have to look it up.
Is there any problem taking that on the day of a race?
There's two that have a very close name, and one is banned. The
pseudoephedrine.
Yeah.
I don't have that one. I got that over there. I just buy it in the shelves. Yeah.
So just in case you get pulled up for drug testing.
I'm not going to be getting pulled up. If you got something else that's illegal, I could take that. No problems.
Yeah.
Is there tell me some things that I could take. What would you be taking right now?
To be honest, I'd probably just take vitamin C, and the zinc is pretty much the only thing that has been shown in low level amounts of data to improve immunity. I would usually take zinc and vitamin C in the run up to a big race like a marathon anyway. But I take vitamin C because I take iron supplements, so I take that with my iron supplements anyway. So and
I had
just hygiene, all that usual stuff to just not pick up anything. That's about as much as you can do.
Yeah, the flight's a worry, isn't it, for that
stuff? Have you got an N95? I'd probably wear an N95 mask, the proper big ones.
Oh, I'll get one of them for sure. Yeah. That's a good idea. Would you just put it on as you get on the plane? Leave it on?
Yeah, probably, yeah. And, just bring my own hand sanitizer. That's about as much as you can do, really.
Yeah.
And just hope you're not sitting next to someone that's spluttering.
Oh,
I know you're also in business class. Sorry, I forgot.
Yes, I am.
Very area.
I told you. Did I tell you I fucked that up?
I
You
heard,
go on
well,
business class.
Start of the monthly, so I heard, yeah, that you're going to
Oh,
have a
yeah.
nice
Yeah.
transfer in Taiwan.
So I found these real cheap frequent flyer flights business, Reece. And I'm like, well, I go through Taiwan, but the flight time's not that different. It's kind of the same as going to Cairns and then Osaka. We just go Taiwan and then across to Tokyo. So I thought, yeah, I'll take them business for this. It's like the equivalent of probably, I don't know, $2,000 or something. And so I thought, yeah, easy, done. And then I've realized that you get off in Taiwan and you have to go to another airport.
No.
Yeah.
So you have to go through border security.
You have to go through customs. Then you have to get in a taxi. It's an hour drive. Then you have to go to the other airport. And then you go through customs and have to do it all over again. So
Did you get a visa?
Oh, Jesus, I hope not. That would really fuck me.
Maybe double check that.
Yeah, oh my God. I haven't even thought about that.
If you're leaving the airport, then if you need a bit,
Surely the airline would tell me that I would need that.
Oh, so it's all booked through an airline.
It's booked through one. I booked through the frequent flyer program.
But in I know if you transfer through the States, you still need to get like that. I can't remember what it's called, that special visa, even if you're just transferring to another country.
I'll be Googling that after this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a bit of a balls up. And then
you fly out tomorrow night, don't you?
Tomorrow night, yeah.
Oh, shit.
But then the hotel emailed saying, well, we have works going on next door. It'll only affect you from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. So that's
in the evening.
Surely they've got that wrong.
No, that's it. It's overnight works. So just wanted to give you a heads up. So we cancelled that hotel, book a different one.
Okay.
But yeah, no, it's like I feel better about this week at the back end. Hey, the Mizuno Wave Sky 7 is a high cushion daily trainer that provides runners with a smooth underfoot feeling. As other trainers become stiffer and more aggressive underfoot, the Wave Sky 7's traditional geometry provides runners with a soft and protective ride suited for all your easy jogging through the week. That's a shoe you work in, Reece, and run in?
Yeah, that's my daily commute shoe plus workday shoe. It's a very traditional feeling shoe. It doesn't have that, that modern day soft. It's got enough of that, but not too much, where it feels like it's durable.
Yeah, you don't want things. Funnily enough, I read this and I thought of you, where it says, as other trainers become stiffer, and I just thought back to your chat last week about the erection of the penis that you mentioned. I thought that was brave of you to talk about your issues. I thought that was really brave.
And then Zach's bloody cropped out there's like misinformation. He's cut the exact bit where it just has me saying, what is it, of personal experience. I'm like, you cut out the rest of it.
No, it's like we need more men like you to talk about that. How about we get into some listener questions that I've got interest in? Not so much the ones I don't have interest in. We'll skip them.
Just very quickly, you had Sunday off running and you did 72 Ks. Is that correct?
Is that it? 72? Damn. Aggressive taper for me.
Did you have Sunday off running?
Yeah, I did. It was too busy. So we were down there like 6 o'clock setting up, and then I didn't get home until right before dinner, and then it was all over for me. Like I was cooked.
Yeah.
And taper time now. We're good. Not much you can do now to get you fitter. All right, let me pull up some questions I got here. We got some good ones. I got about 50 asking what the fuck Reece was doing on Sunday, but we'll skip them because I think we've covered it. Some people...
But, Melbourne Marathon's going to come around in October this year. You know what everyone's going to be doing? They're going to be searching for a marathon the week before. So if you're into event organisations, if I was you, look for the week before Melbourne Marathon. You have an influx of people.
Do you, one of the signs of a good influencer is thinking that people like really look up to them and they actually can influence. I'm not sure you're there yet. Question here: how would you each rate these build-ups versus previous ones? Rachel, obviously we know your answer. A little light on.
One.
Little. Reece, before your downhill marathon and Hamburg, how do you rate this block?
Firstly,
it was Hamburg, right?
It's Rotterdam, and also it wasn't a downhill marathon.
Sorry.
And they're different countries. So I apologise to all the European listeners for this uncultured moron on the other screen.
They're very similar places where, like, they're the tier below the big ones. You know,
So Kelvin Kipton, rest in peace, it was going to go break the world record at Rotterdam. So you reckon that's a tier below? Just because it hasn't got world marathon major status, you reckon it's a tier below?
Well, yes, because it has about 30,000 people less than everyone, like than the main ones.
What about Paris? What's the participation rate of Paris compared to the world majors?
Tier below.
Is it? Isn't Paris? I thought Paris was like the 4th most participated marathon in the world.
Yeah, you run on cobblestones though, and no one like Kipchoge did it. I think is his first one, but then after
you
that,
run on cobblestones through the rocks at Sydney Marathon as well. You know, they're trying to become a world major.
That's probably a couple of tiers below.
That'll be a tier up next year. Next year, tier up.
What was the original question? I can't even remember.
Yes. How do you rate your build up? Sitting here 5 days, 6 days out?
It's the best build-up I've had since 2021. So before I ran Rotterdam Marathon. So Rotterdam Marathon, I went to altitude. I had 12-week European travel. So we did 8 weeks of traveling around. Like every 3 days was somewhere new. But then the 4 weeks out, we went to altitude. And that's when I ran my marathon, and that was probably my best build when nothing went wrong, didn't have an injury, just hit my sessions. And I would say, like, this is your famous last words, right? Like, I probably have hit every session how I want to, and I have no complaints going into this marathon. So, yeah, famous last words.
All right. This is certainly hasn't been as fast as other builds, like the same sessions, but I've got through them all really well. And I've had some hard sessions that I've been proud of how I've worked through the hard stages. So that's always a nice feeling to have a few of those in the back pocket. It's been good to have a group. Like I do all the same sessions as Ali. So the focus really hasn't been on me at all. Like in every workout, I'll go off and do my thing, but then the group is hanging out with Ali. So it's like really not much focus or attention. And my energy is caught up in what she's doing as well. So I'm sort of just there ticking them off. And there's way less expectation and energy around what I'm doing. In terms of my build on paper, like the actual stats.
Sorry, just very quickly. I remember Lake Biwa when you ran your 2:14 and you're watching Ellie on the TV run Nagoya when I'm not sure what time did she run that day.
She ran her PB, so it was 2:26, and
So I think you're taking a similar approach where you could tell how you were visually so pumped for her that morning, and it just kind of went into your race. Like you could tell just watching her how much that meant to you. So you could be doing like a similar approach here, where you kind of just
finished when you had Nagoya already finished by the time you.
I'm going to say it was half an hour before the start. All the managers were sitting in it was the athletes and the managers in this room because it was raining, and they had Nagoya on the TV, and so we were watching. And the managers were quite excited because their like athletes would come in, and the Italian girl, she ran the Italian record, and the manager was there. And then I was like just sitting around with them, watching what was going on, and then Ali obviously come through, and I'm like, fuck, she's done it. And I wasn't nervous at all. Like it was celebrating. It was like, now you go run and you don't have to worry. It's like the weight's off your shoulders. How
are you going to manage coaching her into like this race this weekend, with it being such an important race for her, and at the same time focus on your own race of you?
Yeah, she's pretty experienced now. She doesn't need a lot of like attention during the week.
Yeah.
She's been places I haven't, and she's had a lot of pressure on her for events in the past, like the Olympics, World Cross. So I don't think she needs a lot of hand holding, which is good. Probably just not. Probably one of the better things is trying to keep maybe a little bit of keep people away from her that can, because she's no good at saying no to stuff. She just kind of says yes to everything, and I reckon she gets a bit overwhelmed, and people take advantage of that with her. Like they'll be hammering her for stuff and messaging her and like expecting like big chats and come and run with me the day before here or whatever. So probably me just like stopping her from doing that shit. And then I think it is insane how fit she is right now. Like she's hit workouts. You wouldn't think that if like you approach a marathon block and you're like, we're going to do similar training, we'll just make it a bit faster. Like it doesn't work like that. But she came in and we did that, and she managed to pull pretty much every workout off with the exception of a couple. And I think it's because she hit this level of fitness that allowed her to do that. So
do you think that's going to change the way that you approach coaching athletes in the future?
No, I think it's been dangerous. And I think there's maybe been some overreaching, and I don't think so. Like I've been nervous doing it. Yeah. I think it was a bit of a take a risk because there's no second chances kind of for it. There's no point going in with this and trying to run 2:25 and run a PB. No one's going to be really stoked with that. Yeah. So I think like the thing about the marathon is that everything needs to line up for it to go well. You can't have like a heavy patch of rain come through when when everything's so on the edge of whether you can do it or not. When you're like on this sort of knife edge tipping point, if you have one or two things just push you slightly off the edge, it'll fall over. So certain things need to go right. She's done everything she can.
Good.
Next question.
Just quickly, you were about to hit up kind of your paces and how you feel everything went for your marathon build.
I haven't done enough mileage to be really confident this time round. I think running 130, 140K maximum probably leaves me a bit short compared to what I've done in the past.
Can I tell you a story?
Okay,
just very quickly. Sorry, I'm butting in.
Please.
I'm butting in. Story time, Reece. So one of my good mates, Kiwi Callum Moody, ran 130 to 140 Ks for 10 weeks, and he ran a 2:11 debut.
Oh, well,
there is running 130 to 140 K weeks doesn't stop you from running what you really. You just gotta have confidence in it, mate. You're fit.
Was that a lot for him at the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the highest mileage he's ever done. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. Because this is me taking a big step down in mileage. But I am just so happy to be able to pull off a marathon block and do things that I didn't think that I'd be able to do again. So I feel like everything's a win from here on out.
Because like realistically, it's not like out of expectation that you could run like a 2:16, say. If you like went back a year or two, did you think you would be getting within a couple of minutes of your kind of PB shape?
Oh, no way. That's why this is like my knee is like, you look at it, MRI of my knee, and you guys would be going, you can't do that. Like your knee shouldn't mechanically work well enough to run. So every time that I finish a week, I think this is a bonus right now, especially these big marathon days.
So don't waste it, mate.
Yeah.
No, you are in 2:15 shape at least. You just got to trust yourself.
I disagree with you. I know what 3:15 feels like.
Yeah, 68 halfway, and then do your negative split. In you go.
I'm going to move on to the next question. Where is
He's thinking about it, everyone.
No, I've got it here. It isn't actually on this. It's not written down here. But I want to know, nutrition-wise, how do you approach race week, Rach? Do you have a strategy, a formula for hitting the right amount of carbohydrates?
Yeah. So I'll usually start carb loading a couple of days out, and like I aim for usually certain targets. And like for me, it feels like it's almost like impossible to eat the amount that I should be. Like I feel like I'm getting really like stuffed towards the end of that couple of days. But a lot of it I'll use like drink mixes, so like sugary drinks, juice, drink mixes to like get on top of that. I can't actually, there is like a certain, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but a certain number of grams of carbs per like kilo that you should aim for across the day.
12 to 15.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it's a fairly high amount, isn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, I'll try and do that. And yeah, I'd really try and go heavy on that. And then I probably try and get more on fueling for race day. I try and go to the higher end of like drink mixes and gels and carbs. Because like a bit like what Gemma said last week, try and take on more, because I tend to get that kind of like flavor fatigue or like saturation towards the end of the race. And like when I did Valencia, like I was really struggling with the consistency of gels. I found even during that build, actually, once I started to doing my tempos into the kind of the 330s, I was really struggling to just swallow, like the viscosity of the gels. I remember doing Valencia and like running through one bit where there was clearly like some restaurant making Spanish omelette, and the air was like thick with the smell of eggs. And when you're trying to get down a gel and it's like an egg yolk, like a raw egg, I was just like, oh. So I kind of go a bit harder at the start to try and front load.
Yeah. Okay.
Can you do that, but can you load early on? Can you?
Well, yeah, I just do it so that you can. So in theory, it's supposed to like increase, obviously, the amount that you've got stored, but like it's probably in reality, you're not really going to absorb that much, because your gut has a limit of how much it can absorb whilst you're exercising. And
I think you want to be ahead of the curve, though, in terms of depletion. So there's no point waiting till you get depleted, then you start trying to supplement. But I'm interested in your thoughts, Reece, because you don't really like have traditional scientific beliefs on stuff. So talk to me about nutrition.
Well, I'm not a dietitian, and I've never had dietetics advice from this, and I've never really looked into it. So I would not take anything that I say as knowledge.
This will be good.
To do again. So on Fridays I eat a bit more. I go down to my local grocery store and just buy a lot of Powerades or Gatorades or whatever's half price. I buy whatever's the cheapest. And I probably, on Friday I might have like, I don't know, 3 liters of sports drink or something like that. And then
that's a lot.
And then I just will eat more as well. So like I'll take maybe 3 sandwiches to work, or if I'm out, I just eat more. And then I buy maybe 2 packets of lollies. I have like 2 packets of lollies on Friday as well. I just eat heaps of sugar. And then Saturday I'll wake up, I'll get straight into like lollies and more Powerade, and I'll try and put down about another 3 liters of Powerade before lunchtime. And then by the time lunchtime strikes, I ease off my carbo loading. I kind of just have like a light dinner at like 5 p.m. and that's it. And then I just wake up and have quite a small breakfast and away I go.
Right. So you really ease off then after lunch.
Yeah, I don't know if it's something I just don't like to feel too bloated going into it. And I'm literally, I don't know. There's nothing scientific behind it. Like I wouldn't take this as good advice. I'm just someone that I feel like if I can't eat like heaps of rice, or I'm not a big pasta person. So I just find drinks and lollies and like waffles and just pure sugar. I've got a sweet tooth. I just use them.
Yeah.
What would you have on the morning of? What's your go-to breakfast?
I'm pretty easy. It's like, it depends where I am, but like say Port Fairy, I just had 2, like those waffles that you can put in the toaster. I just had two waffles with some peanut butter, and that's it.
Is that it?
Yeah, or like a lot of other marathons, if I can't find those sort of waffles, might have like a bagel and some peanut butter, something like that.
What about in Japan? They don't have like toasters in the room.
Oh, so half the places you stay in, I never have a toaster, so I just eat like a bagel or some bread. I'll just find something. It's more to settle my stomach. By the morning of, I don't really care that much. As long as I can have a coffee, I'm pretty sweet.
What about during the race? You're going to have access to personal drinks. So what will you put in each drink?
I don't know if I'm going to use personal. I don't know if I'm going to put them out, but I don't know if I'm going to touch them.
Why?
I think I'm just going to carry gels and just take gels.
How are you going to carry gels? Those Mizuno shorts have no pockets.
In my 2 hands.
You're going to carry, or how many gels? 6?
Yeah.
I think they're 5. 5 gels in my hands. Correct. There's nothing better than when like you get to the point where you've got no more gels in your hand. You feel like you can just hit the gas. The reason for like I've had Morton for my last few marathons, the liquid, and I just don't know how well it sat. So I will put Morton out. And if I was going to have Morton, I reckon I'd do Morton the first one for maybe the first half of the race, and then after that, I reckon I will just definitely be on gels. I just feel like gels sit better for me later on in the race.
Mechanically, though, like when you get tired, do you have a harder time opening the gel, like getting it down?
Yeah, so on the weekend I was practicing with the gels I use in Osaka, and they don't spill, so you feel like you can crack them open, and you can. So it's those precision hydration ones. You feel like you can crack them open, and they don't spill. So you feel like you can just run normally with them, and then bringing them up. Yes, they're a bit harder to get out of the packaging, but it's still not that hard. So whereas previously, you know how you crack a gel open, and then if you don't get your mouth to it straight away, you lose half of it. So I'm a fan of that, and I just the reason why I'm thinking of carrying them is I just don't like the anxiety around drink stations and bottles, and just I think it's a waste of energy to be nervous about something like that that's out of your control. And like I've carried gels in my hand, like every race I've done, even like Rotterdam, that I've always carried at least 2 gels in my hands just to like calm my own nerves. So yeah,
I carried all my gels at Valencia because I didn't get.
What, in your hands?
Yeah.
And I put them in my sports bra.
Oh yeah, there's ladies sports bras that have pockets in them. Did you have one of them?
No, I got a lot of chafage.
Yeah, it can cut you up a bit. Same with like, I'm going to wear those Mizuno shorts, Reece, and they don't have pockets. But I reckon you can tuck them in. They're so tight. Probably tuck a couple of gels in.
I reckon that's a good idea. Yeah. You'd hate to get it lost, but right, and you're sitting there trying to reach down.
Yeah.
Like highly compressive, super shorts.
Yeah. I'm going to use the bottles because there's no way I could carry gels like that for a whole marathon in my hand. So I'm just going to tape a gel to my bottle and have water in it. And I'm going to have a couple of like liquid precision, like the precision drink mix. I use pure gels. The pure gels are like the best flavor for me. I actually really like them. And I have trouble carrying drinks, and I hate drinking on the go. So the pure gel I can get down in nearly 1 or 2 like takes, the whole gel. And so I don't ever have to really run with it. And I know what you mean about the anxiety at the tables. It's like it especially if we're around the women, that's even worse because there could be 10 women paces. Like, it's a bit of a nightmare, and they're all shout at you, like especially the African women. Japanese women don't shout at you; the Africans shout at you. And in terms of the carb load, one thing that I like kind of start doing is having fiber in that day before. So the carb load's not too different from you, Rachel, I don't think. Maybe Reece similar, like in terms of increasing how much I eat, but I just get rid of the stuff that I don't really need. to be healthy at that point, like vegetables.
Yeah.
Like I don't need
no
to eat
point.
vegetables. Yeah, or fruit.
Yeah.
Or even meat, to be honest. Like I don't really
Yeah.
need a big chunk of meat the day before.
No.
So it's fucking incredible how much food you really do need to eat that can actually you can use to your benefit. I don't think people understand like the size of the meals that you're eating 24 hours out. It is huge.
Yeah. I enjoy the first. I don't know about you guys, but I enjoy the first maybe half a day of a carbo load, and then you quickly hit a wall, and you're like, "Oh, this is actually pretty hard."
Yeah, it's gross. It's probably problematic. Like if you do push it past your comfort zone, you probably end up with a negative effect, like in terms of your mental state of feeling depressed because you're eating so much and you're feeling like just gross in general.
Yeah. Do you I always like these sort of events where you see the African runners and how much they pile up their plates at these sort of, say you go to Singapore Marathon and, you know, no exaggeration, at the morning buffet they might have like 10 bread rolls piled up like a volcano, and they literally just sit there and just eat bread, and then they'll go back and get a bowl of pasta, and it's just endless the amount of food they eat, and then they have their black coffee and put 6 tablespoons of sugar in it, and it's unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, that was the other thing. Like I've had a couple of carb loads written for me, and I've seen a few written for Ali, and one of the things was like get a coffee but put 2 sugars in it. Have cereal but put sugar on top. And then if you're eating breakfast cereal, have a toast with honey as well. It's just like
that's what I do generally day to day to get my calorie intake up, because I don't have a massive sweet tooth, but since all this like nutrition stuff, like so now like every morning I cover my cereal in honey, which I don't enjoy, but I just do it to get like
that'd be amazing.
What cereal do you roll with?
I'll go for like what are they called here, rice icicles. Is that what they're called? Right,
rice bubbles.
Yeah, that's it.
Rice bubbles.
Yeah,
Snack
just tiny little puffs of rice.
They're terrible.
Why?
There's no flavour to them.
Yeah.
Oh, I cover them in honey now.
No, you need to get some crunchy nut.
Crunchy nut cornflakes.
Yeah, crunchy nut cornflakes. Oh, I could eat that like candy. That's my special treat. That is my special treat. When I go to when I see that half price and I go grocery shopping and get one special treat, that's my special treat. What's yours, mate?
I eat just right.
Oh, of course you do. Of course you do.
It's like 45 to 65-year-old ladies eat it.
Like the brown, brown.
That's if you're having like digestive problems, you know, your bowels aren't moving quite as you want.
All brand. That's all brand. But there is one that I'm not allowed to have anymore because it costs too much. But Brie buys like the Carmen's gluten-free cereal. Oh God, that's some good stuff. But it's like $8.50 a box, and I have a massive bowl. And it's half a box gone in one bowl. So now she buys me this cheap shit, and it's nowhere near as good. And in the end, Pia just picks all the sultanas out, which is the best bit. And so I'm left with this terrible, terrible meal. I need to find a good cereal, but I don't want like a sugar one like yours, or I don't want a flavorless one like yours. So
what if you combined a couple together?
Yes. So that's what my old man used to do. Every morning he'd go half a bowl of all brand and he'd put cornflakes on top. And that was actually a good shout. That was pretty nice.
A bit of sugar on that.
Yeah. All right. Good. Yeah. No, I'm going to have to go shopping when we get back. I reckon I want to go to bed now. We're in race week. We have to get sleep. Rach, you're probably saving lives tomorrow or tonight.
No, because we fly on Wednesday morning, so I'm just packing and sorting out last bits tomorrow.
Oh, you're done too.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fun.
So you're not working tomorrow?
No.
You're
tomorrow
done.
We leave. We have to leave here that's 5:30, 6 o'clock Wednesday morning. So we're doing a day flight throughout the day.
Well, no, doesn't the plane leave at 6?
No, plane leaves at 8. So
okay. Yeah, right. I think there's a plane that leaves at 6 because you're doing the Jetstar to Cairns and across.
No, I'm on the Cathay, the one to Hong Kong, and then.
Yep, gotcha. Okay. Right. And then you're on the. What are you, Reece? You're going to Cairns and across?
No, I'm on the Midnight Express. We're going out at I think it's maybe 1:45 in the morning on Wednesday night, Thursday morning.
Oh yeah.
And we go via Hong Kong and then to Osaka.
So are you guys traveling with the Mizuno crew?
I believe I am. I think Rachel's going
different flight.
A different flight, but I think Sam from Mizuno, I think he's on my flight. Yeah.
You guys staying at the same hotel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What hotel is it?
Hotel 8, Shinmachi.
Is it? Yeah.
Hotel.it.
Is it in downtown, like city centre?
I think so. It's not very close to the race start. I looked it up the other day. Like, I assume they'll be doing a shuttle bus or something. So
yeah, it's probably the same one they stayed last year. It's a good little hotel. Yeah, you do catch a shuttle down there though, which is normal, I guess.
Yeah.
Take warm clothes because they like to do photo shoots, and it's like you get there early to take advantage of the sun coming up. So we were down there at least 2 hours prior to the race starting last year, and it was fucking freezing.
Oh,
take some coins for the coffee machine too. There's the vending machines that punch out some hot coffees.
That's a good shout.
Take something like that.
Yeah, very good shout.
And I'll see you guys most likely.
In
Osaka. Race meeting. I guess you don't go to the race meeting, Rachel. You won't need to go there.
Nah, probably not.
No, Reece will go because he'll get some pictures for his social media.
He's the star athlete on the list because we got sent all the Mizuno athletes that are going. You've got the fastest seed time, I think.
Who else is going? Any other famous influencers?
No, Reece is definitely the biggest.
Oh, can't help it.
Especially now that he's got the Port Fairy Marathon champ to add to his resume.
Let me look how many followers he's got. I actually haven't. I must follow you, Reece. Only recently. 1,867. And he's put in where is this? He's put in the bio his Strava, link to his Strava because that's where he gets he gets his main counter.
Like realistic main counter. Realistically, if you're gonna follow me and actually want to know what I'm doing, Strava's where you want to follow me. Not on Instagram.
No, I don't know. There's some good stuff on here. I'm going back.
You just know that one of these
there for a few years.
is going to appear on Julian Strava attached to one of his runs tomorrow.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I've just started. This is the start of I'm at the very top of the rabbit hole.
I'm going to send my people to investigate you, mate. I'm going to find some dirt on you, and I'm going to start posting that everywhere on my Strava.
Yeah, there's a bit down there too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we will do a recap next week. I think when we're all back in Australia, because I don't want to do this when I'm away. That'd be a bit shit. So we'll do it when we're all back. We might call up some guests to give their race experience as well on the review show.
Good.
So it's not just Reece drowning his sorrows after he blows up.
Oh, mate, I tell you what, I'm going to light the town on fire after I run a PB, and then sake, beers on me, mate. It's going to be a good night.
Just don't count your chickens too early, big boy. I'm rooting for you, but don't count them. All right. See you over there.
All right.
Catch you soon.
I've got one more to go. The Inside Running podcast Road to Osaka series is powered by Mizuno, committed to making marathoners faster for now and the future.